We decide to talk now about an obscure internet webcomic with a huge cult following.
That's right. Let's talk about Homestar Runner.
Oh, yes! Yes!
Strong Bad.
Yeah, it just returned last year.
Yes.
Yes.
Homestar. Oh, wait. Different Homestar.
Yeah, Homestar 1 got a point-and-click adventure years ago.
It's because they're easy to make.
Oh, wow. Well, we on episode 16, aren't we?
16, everybody.
Yeah. What happens when we reach 20? What happens when we reach 24? That's 24 hours worth of us talking about Homestuck.
Yeah, that means you can waste an entire day with us.
Waste? What do you mean waste?
Well, you know what I mean. Well, it's a waste because you're just sitting there listening. Because we don't want you to do anything. We want you to remain idle, concentrating only on our voices. So who are you?
I'm Austin.
I'm Luna.
I am Jeff Tucker. I am the voice of 91 Reasons. And like you said, we're episode 16, taking you to the outer fringes of the interwebs. You know, the internet is a series of tubes. It's true. You can look it up. And this is exactly what happened. We finished our episode last Wednesday night. And as soon as we finished, what happened? Like literally, as soon as we finished the episode, you guys found out something big.
Hive Swap news about the gameplay of the game.
Somebody had actually played the game.
For the first time.
Right. And I was like, it's too late. We already did a whole hour. So here we are, a week later, and tell everybody what you've learned, what you know, what you think to be true. Spill it.
The first thing we got was from Kim. Just a normal person who went to GDC, right? Were they anyone special? Anyone we know?
Review Fix.
They were from Review Fix. Why? No, not Kim. Kim's from another website.
Oh, sorry. Kim is from Game something. Game.
Can you click the tab so we can see?
Tab. We want to credit the right people here. Game Informer.
Okay, Game Informer, popular gaming website.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it.
Writers.
So
She
Kim
was the lucky one.
was someone who decided they sent to GDC and they talked about their favorite games, all sorts of weird indie games and big games coming they thought they liked. And right at the front there was Hive Swap as
The
well.
last one.
Last one.
Hive Swap.
All right, I'm going to read it, just so for those of you keeping score. HiveSwap, platform PC, Mac, and Linux developer, What Pumpkin Studios' HiveSwap is a 3D point-and-click adventure game that's based off the Homestuck comic by Andrew Hussey. The game reached its Kickstarter goal in 2 days, being the highest funded Kickstarter at the time with $2.48 million. Even if you haven't experienced the comics, you can still dive into HiveSwap. The characters and settings are brand new. It's only set in the same world as the comic. The first episode centers on Joey Claire and her dorky kid brother Jude. The game begins with the two living a normal life when one day they activate a portal to an alien planet. The adventure is set in the 90s, so you'll see remnants of the decade scattered about, such as Super NES, Tiny Toons, and Bugsby. Jude can communicate with her via walkie-talkie from his treehouse and pass her items via carrier pigeon. She eventually makes it to an alien planet where she discovers an evil plot to destroy the world. The adventure features branching paths for replayability, but what I loved most was the fun creativity in the world. For instance, Troll Twitter exists, and you can learn about other NPCs making friends or enemies with them using the social network.
And it also mentions, you skipped a sentence, that she has ballet and tap dancing skills to take on baddies.
Yeah, you can't forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were a lot to talk about there. That's the first time Joey's last name has been said. Claire. Claire.
And that the kid is her brother.
And that Jude from the password system is her brother. We were right. And it confirms some stuff from the Italian one that we thought we had translated wrong, but no, it's real.
She really
there
does
really
that.
is a troll Twitter, and she really does attack via ballet. She doesn't use a weapon. She uses ballet.
So does that mean her Stripe's best bitch would be Sue kind?
Shoe kind, I guess.
That way, because you can switch Sues throughout the comic?
See, it's not suburban, there's no alchemy. They did an item that wouldn't look good in different forms.
No, I know why. I know exactly why, and I just figured it out right now on the spot. Well, she's a big fan of video games, it mentions.
Yeah.
So she wants to be like Mario. That's why she has
Jump
Sues.
shoes
She has jump Sues.
Maybe.
She likes to stomp on enemies. Video game
She can
style.
stomp on enemies.
Is she a fan of the game or the movie? Yeah, Bob Hoskins.
What year was that?
What, 90, 91?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's right in the time frame.
Yeah, it's just 94.
If she turns and she goes, this ain't no game, then you know it's movie-based.
Oh, if she gets the thwomp shoes on,
Oh, yes.
this game could really be something.
But the obvious reason they chose ballet is it's more fun to animate. Every RPG game out there is the same generic sword slashing attacks, but this will be different to see, her jumping around with ballet shoes.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot more fun in the animator's part, too.
Is ballet ever mentioned in Homestuck?
No.
No.
I'd have to check when John allocates his hammer kind. There's a list. I'll see if ballet kind's on there or shoe kind or something similar.
All right, so with this website and Kim's article, you've got a plot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how different is this plot from the plot of Homestuck?
Immensely. It's not about... There's no video game. There's no multiverse craziness. There's no time travel. It's just two cities connected by a portal and some unknown doomsday device that they won't talk about.
Aliens have landed on Earth. That's
The most obvious plot here seems like aliens show up, she gets warped to their planet and teams up with the X-Troll, who happens to be the lowest blood. You've seen that he's red. So they start out in the slums and work their way up through the downtown into the city and the palace, and then up to the Condes's pink moon, and then onto her spaceship for the finale. That seems like the general flow of the game. But knowing Hussey, he's going to make it seem like that's the flow of the game and then take a really weird turn halfway in that leads to some crazy stuff we don't see coming.
You think it'll be a video game turn, or do you think it'll be like a meta turn where suddenly they're in the creator's lab watching
Probably
them make
a
the
little more
game,
meta.
and she, and like Wreck-It Ralph, she can reach in and change the code or something.
Yeah, probably something like that. There's another recent interview on Review Fix there, where they actually interview Jess, one of the main girl behind the game, and she says that there is a meta sense to games. There is a choose your own path to the game, and she said it makes fun of itself in its inventory system, its fighting system, and the path system. So it does somehow get meta with the way you choose your own adventure. It does not just simply do these things and play through the game to try again. It actually starts becoming self-aware of some kind.
So the other interview on Review Fix actually offers a little more insight by saying that Joey Claire accidentally activates a mysterious device hidden in her attic and gets sucked through a portal to the alien troll planet of Alternia, swapping places with a troll boy who is sent to Earth in her place. In order to find a way home, Joey must join forces with a band of scrappy troll rebels and race to stop a terrible doomsday weapon that threatens to destroy both worlds. So my question is, are you playing as Joey, or is it going to swap to you playing as the robot duplicate, the troll that gets sent to Earth? Or is that just...
Hussey said that's game 2.
That's game 2.
There's 4 games as Joey, and then 4 games as most likely Antler Troll.
Episodes or games?
Episodes.
Okay.
So probably 5 to 6 hours each is what we're guessing, with some replayability. And they could also confirm this interview. It does have Choose Your Own Adventure, and it actually goes between acts. Certain stuff will happen in Act 4 that will change if you did something all the way back in Act 1. So there's a lot of replayability to it. Especially with, she also announces the Twitter system, which is called Prongle. That's what Prongle is.
We finally know what Prongle is.
It's troll Twitter. It's called Prongle. And Prongle is used of any time you meet an NPC, you friend them on Prongle. And as you go through the rest of the game, you can check back on how they're doing and how your choices are affecting life still in the previous levels.
But didn't they try something like this with one of the Grand Theft Autos by giving all this outside sort of social game, and it never really worked?
Yeah.
What makes you think it's going to work this time?
I think Hussey's doing this as a way of taking all the random background trolls and giving them a full fleshed out storyline you can find out through playing the game more.
Yeah,
and
they
by having
set
this
up
troll
nearly
Twitter.
every NPC will be on the Prongle, and
This is how
your
characters
choices will
like
affect them.
the background punk rock troll or the bus ticket guy we've seen in the concept artwork, that's how the story will wrap up.
Yeah, even though you're going to get a few minutes of screen time, you can follow their story through the Prongle.
But what I think is that Prongler is just a very clever plot device that's hiding some stuff in. Because now he has a social networking site other than PestoChum that he can hide new anonymous users in.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of users who are not NPCs in the game, who are either characters we haven't met yet, characters that appear in later acts, characters that appear in later games, or canon characters hidden.
Characters.
There's probably going to be 1 or 2 canon characters who secretly have a Prongler account.
Well, I hope the canon characters show up, because I really want to see him in his art style. And to rip him for Gmod.
Well, Jade was probably going to show up. Dream or Jade.
Yeah.
Because C. Benson met a lot of troll friends who we never met before, and that plot point was never touched back on
Dream bubbles aren't
again.
a thing yet, so we don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. The only way to tie it into canon would be to have dream bubbles, and you meet Dream or Jade.
Yeah.
Before she got turned into the normal Jade. What I would see is you would have the middle of the game have Dream or Jade show up as a plot twist, but she would actually get written off near the end, and then she'd show up afterwards as Dog Tier Jade.
Yeah.
Long after.
He said he's not going that into Homestuck, though. Except the Guardians.
He
which
says
is kind of weird
that.
because we're going to Alternia. He's like, oh, we're going to explain all about Skynet. Every 5 minutes in, she goes to Alternia.
Hussey says a lot of things he doesn't follow. This is coming from a guy who said he was going to end the webcomic in 2012.
Yeah.
When the Kickstarter came, so I think it's going to tie into canon more than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you, after enduring the first act of Homestuck, do you think the game will follow suit in that you won't leave Earth till like 2 or 3 hours in? There'll be all these side quests to do, and it'll involve such like opening cabinets, finding lost keys.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be one of those things where in order to get off the planet, the object is like in a cabinet, and it's like got a latch on it that's so simple to open in real life, but in the game requires like 4 hours of quests to finally. I mean, how many times have we done that in the game? It's like, this is so easy. You could just reach over and open the door. And instead, it's like, no, there's a guardian, and you've got to go on a side quest, dear knight, to get 7 magic chalices. In the 7th chalice, you'll find the key. And it's like, well, I'll just go get the 7th. No, they must be obtained in order, young knight. And you're like, this is the whole game, right? When I open the cabinet, it's over.
They said the opening is going to have the whole walkie-talkie system with Jude and Joey together, and you have to use a carrier pigeon to carry items between them to solve puzzles in each room.
Doesn't that frighten you? A carrier pigeon?
Yeah.
A carrier pigeon between characters.
How does a carrier pigeon work with the Silodeck system?
That means the pigeon will be able to hold 5 objects, and when you put 6, he will drop 1 object.
I'm getting a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy vibe with this.
Yeah, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy text-based adventure. No one could ever figure out how to get out of his house. You die no matter what you do.
Oh, that's great.
The walkthroughs say there's a whole story there, but I've never seen anything past the house. The brick hits me in the head every time.
What if we got a game where we can't figure out how to get to Alternia? It's just all this stuff happening around the house.
Well, it is a game about a guy being zapped from Earth and being told that Earth's going to be destroyed. That is the plot of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. Although I don't remember Arthur Dent with a carrier pigeon.
I don't get the carrier pigeon.
What is that a reference to? Why is that in there?
It's got to be something.
It's
90. I lived through the 90s. I don't know any kid who had a carrier pigeon.
Joey is obsessed with video games and particularly Nintendo.
SNES.
Super
She calls
Nintendo.
it SNES. There's a whole thing on here. It's an image of the game of her going on about SNES. She has a whole argument with the narrator about how it's properly pronounced SNES, and anyone who doesn't pronounce it SNES is a big idiot.
No, it's SNES because NES is not NES. You say the NES. Which system are you playing? I'm playing the NES. You don't suddenly add a letter and then it changes the pronunciation.
It is NES.
Who?
Mother 3, the game. Ness and Lucas.
No,
NES is based off NES.
No, it's NES and SNES.
Hussey says SNES, so I'm going to say SNES.
And of course, Hussey picked the SNES, which is like such a short-lived console because, we had the NES and it worked great and we had hundreds of games. And they put the Super Nintendo out, which in Japan was the Famicom. And
Super Famicom.
It had good games. It had the Star Wars game, and it had Battletoads. But then, what was it? Sega Genesis came out pretty soon after that, and those graphics were. Here's a fight now. Which graphics were better, Sega Genesis or SNES? I don't know. You decide. All I know is I had a Sega Genesis, and they were the first to have the CD. I mean, Nintendo didn't give up cartridges until N64. They were still using cartridges for N64.
Zelda CDI.
It wasn't until GameCube that they and even then it was like, no, it's our own size
tried
disc.
with the Philips CDI.
Yeah, no one even played that, right?
I'm so Joey plays that.
Yeah. Will this character be playing like a Jaguar?
Oh.
Or a 3D
Sega Saturn?
Sega Saturn 3DO? Or a Dreamcast?
The posters on our wall that you can see in the picture. Is it on this interview?
No, it's on Kim's.
It's on. No, it wasn't on Kim's.
Yes, it's on Kim's. Go to
What?
Kim's.
No, it wasn't on.
There's
wasn't
one
on Kim's.
picture, dude.
Oh, is it on
I
Review?
think it's on Review Fix. Go down.
Hold on, we're looking. There's
No.
nothing there.
It's here somewhere. We'll
Just
find
talk about it.
Well, we
Yeah,
don't-
You can't see it. It's a
yeah.
radio show.
It shows her bedroom, and you can see some of the stuff on her wall. There are posters of SNES games. There's Metroid, Earthbound,
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle, and what Bubsy is it?
Bubsby, what was it? Wait, Claws Encounters from the Poor Kind.
Yeah.
Oh, Claws Encounters of the Fur Kind.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Bubsby,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, Bubsy.
Oh.
And they're all alien-related games.
Oh.
And Earthbound, which is like the #1 thing Homestuck's based on.
Yeah, it's based off
90% of
Earthbound.
Homestuck is Earthbound.
Homestuck
And
is,
then-
is the same
It's the same name.
name as
Earthbound.
Earthbound.
There's a
Homestuck.
never-ending
Yeah.
story.
That's
kind
that's
of.
Eternia.
He forced that in halfway through.
Well, there's a never-ending story poster in Joey's bedroom.
Oh, there
is what I'm
is?
saying. Yes.
Okay.
And then, also what really intrigues me is the amount of licensed toys in Joey's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
See, he has a strawberry shortcake fully animated doll and a game of Simon Says.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the curiosity is, does he have to pay to use that?
Probably not.
I think it's all fair use. There's some Google Images.
It's either fair
pictures on
use
the wall.
or it's what at some point the big studios are like, who cares? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Unless Joey's gonna go over and start humping the strawberry shortcake doll, it's probably used okay enough in the game for them to go, yeah, what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
It seems to be like John's Harley Quinn doll to hold a little Cal to Dave. It's this big doll that's on a chair.
It's the doll that sits in her room that we think she's gonna sprite, but isn't.
Suburb isn't
Yeah,
really
every
used
kid
to
has one, except the alpha kids didn't.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have a doll in
kids
your
do.
room, Austin?
We have little Cal.
We
Little
have-
Cal. We have a
little Cal.
homemade little Cal.
This all comes from Hussey having a Pee Wee Herman doll as a
Yeah.
child, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And John had the Harley Quinn, Dave had the little Cal, Rose had the Cthulhu Princess, and Jade had the Knight and the Admiral Captain guy.
Yeah, but it was really Squiddles that tied into a story more.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was the joke. As it went on, it became less likely for them to sprite the doll.
Yeah.
Only Rose and John did. Cal did, but it was a mistake. They had to be undone by the retcon
Yeah.
timeline. But anyway, Joey's room. Yeah, she has Simon Says. I wonder if that'll be a puzzle in the game.
I'm sure
If
we'll be.
we'll have
It's,
to do a game of Simon Says to continue
If
on.
you have to play Simon on that game, you have wasted your money. Really?
no,
Yeah.
I don't think it's
A
important.
follow the
No,
lights.
Beep, boop, 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 boop.
I don't think it's important just because it's laying there in the bedroom. The thing I'd like to point
This is
out is
Homestuck. It's important because it's laying there in the bedroom, except for Dave's room.
It's
Well, no.
Homestuck, and it's also following the rules of
well, look,
literary.
there's something really important I'd like to point out though.
Oh, please.
The entire room is darkened except for the posters and the sun signing on the strawberry shortcake doll specifically. Like as if that's going to be important.
I'm sure that means you're supposed to click on it. It's just visual clues of where you should hit the X button.
Oh.
You think you click on it and it like animates it, it goes back and it's like that's it. Like how many games have we played where you click on something and it's like that's a doll. like that's so many point and click games are like you click on it and then there's an animated scene of somebody like leaning in forward and looking with their eye and then it goes, yep, that's a doll, and you're like, you just wasted my time. That game just wasted
Yeah.
my time. I'm talking about Broken Sword.
Broken Sword are the dumbest clickable things of all time.
you could
You
click
click on everything.
everything,
And nothing mattered.
Right, he would just go, that's a door, and you're like, dude, it's clickable. It should be part of the
And
game.
it's all written as if he's like telling a police his story, and it's like, what is he telling these guys?
Yeah, I know, right? He's in custody.
At some
about
point, the police are gonna be like, get to it.
right. The clown comes by with a bomb, and then he spins like a 9-hour story, and you're like, the cops are like, is he ever gonna confess to the crime or what? What are we doing with this guy?
Reminds me of the dragon one. What was it called?
Dragons of the Round
It
something.
was about dragons of the Round Table. It was a King Arthur one.
It was
but it
written
had a
by
name
the
like
it was
Dragon
written,
Story.
It was written by the Monty
It was
Python
written by
guys.
the Monty Python guys. And the point in that is when you start the game, you have one item in your inventory. It's called a clicker. You click on it, and the dragon takes out the clicker. He clicks it a few times, and he says, "It's a clicker." It clicks. And that's all it does. It's in your inventory the entire game. Every time, like, maybe I should use it here. It's a clicker. It clicks. Every room you hear that because you're going to try it on something. The very last room of the entire game, it's the last item you ever use. And you're stuck with it the whole game trying it on everything.
Well, that's guys having a goof on you.
Yeah. I think it had all these special lines if you showed it to different people. They're like, yeah, that's a clicker. It clicks.
Hey, considering Joey's a fan of obscure games, is there any chance Joey's going to get a click on it?
That was PS1.
Let me ask you a question. As far as one of the things that really screwed me up in video games, since we're talking video games, was that I've been around since, the birth of video games. And if you had an item like a clicker, you had to find something that you had to click open or whatever it was. Like, that's part of the game.
You had to in the end, you were short of something. You had to reach for it. And you can click onto it and grab it.
Right. So what game was it that was the first game to combine items?
Because
that was suddenly suddenly it was like, wait a minute. Now because I know Resident Evil. I want to
say Broken Sword.
Broken Sword, Resident Evil. The big one would be like, I played Metal Gear on Nintendo, right?
Oh.
And there was one part where you had to get in a box. Remember that, get in a box? They would load the box and you would get taken in, hidden in a box. And it's like, I never knew how to do that. Guys would be like, yeah, I finished Metal Gear. And I go, wait, I can't get in. They're like, oh, you have to get in a box. And I go, get in a box? What kind of game is this? I just want to shoot guys. Like, no, the object's not to be seen. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. But like Resident Evil, you had to combine herbs and stuff to make medicines.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. I just want to play the linear game. I know that you're trying to make the game longer and seem more involved. And you know what? I would bet that Hussey and his team of designers have come up with 10,000 red herrings in this game, just to screw with you, to extend the gameplay, which is admirable. But if they're not clever and funny, then it's just going to become it's just going to become maddening and tedious.
I like in Act 1, it's the only time in the whole comic it's ever used. John has the cake in the front of his inventory and the arm in the back, and he goes to combine them, and it smashes together every item that's in the middle. I want that to happen in Hive Swap. If you try to combine two items, it smashes everything between them, too.
Well, I bet, because, yes, this Hive Swap game is telling an original story set within the Homestuck universe, but the only way to keep you guys interested is there has to be a few nods along the way. Oh, yeah, I recognize that. Otherwise, it's not Homestuck.
They said there's strife scenes, like when John fights his dad, where you click object, abjure, abscond. Those will carry right over to the game but it will be a new take where it's half Strife spoof, half Final Fantasy spoof. With her ballet moves.
That will be interesting, but I would like to see at least some mechanical nods. I mean...
Yeah. They said there is stuff for Homestuck readers if they look closely, but it is designed as a game to be the entry point to Homestuck. You're supposed to play the game first, then you'll get new people to read the comic.
But the comic's going to end so he can make the game.
Yeah.
So what's his plan? Have a game out, you can play the game, then we do a
Jess
comic,
says they want to make
then what?
Jess, in this interview, says they were here to make a point-and-click game to draw in point-and-click fans to the Homestuck franchise.
Because Homestuck is reminiscent of a point-and-click.
Yes.
I mean,
Started off
Caliborn...
with Jailbreak it's a text-based, and this is point-and-click, so they're pretty close.
Caliborn himself even says in canon he's the king of wet herrings.
Yeah.
That's basically telling you he isn't Lord Inglis, really, by the way. Everyone thinks he is, but in canon he says he's the king of wet herrings.
He's the king of red herrings.
So, of course he's not the villain. He's the king of wet herrings. It's a clicks.
Does that bother you that the game was sold to you guys as the Homestuck experience in
the
game
Homestuck
form?
Kickstarter game.
Yeah, the Homestuck.
So what is this?
Kickstarter
This
game.
is not what was promised.
No, not really.
You guys, and I'm saying you guys in a royal form, the royal you guys.
Yeah, the
you guys,
$2.4 million guys.
You guys didn't give nearly $2.5 million so that other people could get interested in Homestuck.
Yeah.
That money was given so that the Homestuck reading experience could be translated into a Homestuck gaming experience.
You didn't do that.
Listen, we have talked about this before, but it bears repeating. The Matrix should have been a slam dunk in the video game arena. A movie about basically video game aesthetics, seeing things in video game code form, and then the game comes out and it's terrible. Because guess what? It wasn't the movie experience. It was a side experience. So I think this game runs the risk of being too clever for its own good by not being exactly what you guys want. I don't know if there's any way to appease all the fans regardless, but if this is not anything about Homestuck, you want to see John Egbert at some point, right?
Yeah.
I want to see Callcat and John.
Long enough that they will model each character in the new style.
I mean, look at BioShock Infinite. It was made as its own game to introduce people to the BioShock franchise. And guess what? It worked. Because you played through Infinite. And I'm going to spoiler here. Spoiler alert for BioShock.
Trigger warning.
That I'm just going to say, I'm not going to cover the whole game, but I'm going to say that it connects enough to the original BioShock games in the end. That you're happy with it.
You're happy with it.
And then there's an expansion they even made that adds more onto it. And that's when you go, oh my god, it's all the old characters and the new art style. This is great.
Hopefully Hiveswap will get that.
I want Hiveswap to have that.
Hopefully it's going to start off as its own thing, like how Hussey promised he's making a new thing, and then by the end it's just more Homestuck.
That's exactly what
That's the best
BioShock
we can hope
was.
for.
I never played the first two BioShocks. I played Infinite first. I played Infinite, then played all of BioShock, and then played the later game, Burial at Sea, which they had released, and I just fell in love. Because I got to see this new game, this amazing steampunk game, was something totally different than I expected. It was really something.
So, we're hoping that Hiveswap, the first few acts, are a really good point-and-click game. And then by, Hiveswap Act 3 all the way through the second game, it's the Homestuck madness that we love. That it'll fall into all the suburb and the multiverse and the Guardians as he's promised and all that.
Right? That's what you want?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's a lot like Goonies 2.
Goonies 2.
Goonies 2.
The Nintendo game Goonies 2, where the Fratellis are back, and they've kidnapped all of your friends, and they've hidden them away in the caverns, and you have to go in and kill like ninjas and stuff to get your friends back. Because that was, to me, like the continuation of the Goonies franchise. I played it, and I was like, you know what? They never need to make a movie now because they got it. They nailed it. They nailed it. I kid. I'll give you this. The only game, and there might be more, you let me know if you think of any. The only video game franchise, video game period that I can think of that said, hey, we're a licensed game, but we're going to tell you a totally different story that's just to the left and the right, and it was so good, it felt like a real sequel, and that's Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Was good.
I know there was also a Nightmare Before Christmas one, wasn't there?
Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. Yeah, that was okay.
That was a direct sequel, Nightmare Before
The only
Christmas.
problem I had with Ghostbusters was they felt like they were staged going through the same actions. Like it felt like Groundhog Day Ghostbusters. They're all saying the same things.
It had Bill Moy
going to the same places.
Right,
it's really weird.
Yeah. Well, because they wanted to have the flavor.
Yeah.
And but you know what? The gimmick though of you're not Venkman, you're the new guy, and Venkman and Ray.
That was good because you get to fight alongside them.
Yeah, that's what you
want.
want.
That's what we all want.
That was what Matrix
and
didn't
there was some
figure
really
out.
clever how they got Slimer and Stay Puft back in. But when they still do the flowers are still standing again. Like that doesn't feel natural.
No, it's time to come up with some new jokes.
Yeah,
I agree.
But I think a lot of people would be happy as happy they are to play as a new character. It's always great to have a new character like Joey introduced.
Yeah.
How would you feel if by the final arc you're working with Callcat fighting Imperial drones?
Yeah, we need that.
We do need that.
Trying to think of other games that were like that. Tron 2.0 was pretty good.
Wasn't there a Incredibles one?
Incredibles, Rise of the
Underminer.
Underminer. That was
No,
it. Yeah.
Tron 2.0 wasn't that better than the actual sequel Disney came out with?
You're saying that anything Tron is entertaining at all.
Oh.
There is nothing good Tron.
Did you catch that? Wow.
The ARG for Legacy was okay because I got some free pins out of it.
Well, as Jeff Bridges once said, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
You're ruining my electric jazz.
It's like electronic jazz, man.
You're messing with my Zen thing.
Well, let's just hope that that Hive Swap doesn't end up being like, obviously my favorite franchise is Back to the Future. The Back to the Future Nintendo game is the worst video game ever created in the history of video. Yeah, he collects clocks.
No, I don't.
He avoids giant bees.
I prefer Back to the Future 2 and 3 for the NES.
Oh, those are not even
Sewer.
those are not even worth playing. They're some of the worst crap I've ever seen. And I remember I was such a Back to the Future nerd, right? Me and this guy Joe stayed up all night one night playing that stupid Back to the Future game, and we got to see the DeLorean one time because every time you died, you had to go back to the beginning. And I remember at the end, Joe took the game out of the machine and he just smashed it. And I was like, "That's a rental." He's like, "We'll figure it out, man. It's worth us taking the $30 hit so that no other person endures what we've endured here today." And God, it was so bad, that game. It's so bad that you can go on YouTube and see somebody playing it, and you want to kill it all over again.
There's a YouTube video of someone playing it. They end up putting it in a toaster and toasting the game.
The cartridge?
Yeah.
So I'm not alone.
No.
Okay.
Here, if you wanted to see it, Dad, here's the picture of Joey in her room.
Nice.
You can find that on Destructoid. Destructoid's
You
article.
guys-
That's another popular gaming website.
Listeners
I'll
get
find
there.
it.
And
I-
it actually has a spot of narration.
Oh, okay.
It says, it's her standing next to her Super NES, and it says, "It's your SNES. Pronounced SNES, of course, like someone's peculiar name. Like a weird friend who doesn't get out much. Come to think of it, SNES probably considers you its weird friend who doesn't get out much. This is a strange reverie to have, it occurs to you. Just another minute gone by in Joey's exciting, lonely life."
Okay, yeah, we're looking at it right now. We can see the Strawberry Shortcake doll, all the
Game
movie
assignment,
posters.
SNES posters.
What's the star outside the window? Is there
We
a
don't
Christmas
know.
tree?
We don't know. The treehouse is all the way back there, which begs the question of saying, the Jess interview says she found the portal in her attic, and yet Jude is with his telescope is watching a mansion on the other side of town.
Yeah, no, I would say the portal is in that mansion.
Yeah.
In the attic.
But Jess, the head creative developer, said that it's in her attic.
I think she misspoke.
She misspoke there.
Yeah.
Remember last week when the HTC person from the phone company
you're
said
the Castle Fortress 2.
they said we were gonna play Castle Fortress 2 on the virtual reality headset?
Half-Life 4 or
And
something.
yeah, they didn't know any of
They
the
didn't know what
Valve
they were
games.
talking about. The weirdest thing in this picture is the girl next to her TV. It looks like her mom. It's some older version of her with longer hair.
Yeah.
It's weird because that's the first time we've ever seen it. If that's her guardian, it's the first time we've seen a guardian that has full facial features.
Yeah,
Nana.
They're normally featureless.
Normally
right?
they only have one feature.
Yeah.
Dad has his nose, bro has his eyes,
Mom has a
grandpa
mouth.
has a mouth.
Grandpa's a mustache, mom is a mouth.
Yeah.
Nana, she's not really a guardian. Does he count?
She's a pile of ashes. No, she's a sprite. The only thing I can think of is because it looks like an older version of her, I can assume it is with time travel shenanigans. And that would be why she's drawn in that style. Because it's breaking Homestuck tradition by drawing a guardian in that style.
So obviously it must be important and
Yeah.
clickable.
Clickable, yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that this red and green thing was walkie-talkie, like cup and
She's
thing.
supposed to have one.
But that's not what that is. That's one of those things you put on your leg and you jump and swing it around while you try to avoid
yeah.
Skip-
90s toys.
skipjack or something. Yeah, I don't know. But it wouldn't work either because
That's good ballet practice.
Exactly. Yeah, point ballet practice.
I like this Google stock images on her wall. She's got like a panda and a sloth and an elephant.
Yeah, great.
And her old 90s computer, her strawberry shortcake doll. There's a weird indent in her room, which is weird because that's not something you can do in the Homestuck art style, so it's weird to see it in a
Oh, right, you're
Homestuck
talking
genre.
about the window seat?
Yeah, the window seat. Rooms in Homestuck are normally square because it's easiest for him to draw.
Well, yeah, and I would ask you, why, just help me figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it look so nicely animated and then it has this on it?
Oh,
where it's like,
yeah. The narration is so...
It looks like Bubsby.
It's so
Well,
Bubsby 3D2
Yeah.
is what it
I
looks
think
like.
I think what gets me is that the character is MS Paint style, the text is MS Paint style, but the room isn't.
Yeah.
Remember
Well,
that?
that's... I think it has a lot to do with 90s point and click.
Yeah.
Most of them had rendered locations, and you were just the character. It was a still image you're painting as the place. So they're trying to mimic that with a low poly character in a high realistic room. And the text, I guess, is supposed to look something right out of an old game. And what?
Remember back in December, didn't we get screenshots of an actual 2D drawn Joey in our bedroom as an MS Paint panel? I remember that.
It's a picture of a picture on a computer with some concept art and a really early Joey shot. And it looks more like the MSPA style. But that's before they decided, let's make it a point-and-click spoof.
Yeah.
So they did low poly models and pre-rendered locations.
I wonder if I can find that image again, because that was back when
That's
the game
all
was
over the
gonna
place.
was gonna look more like
Yeah.
MSPA.
And another interesting thing is that they said there's be no voice actors, which is really weird for a game like this, where there's interactions, walkie-talkies, and the Grubbers band. Like, when you have walkie-talkies in a band, you kind of need voices. And they said, when you play the game, you'll see why. I'm assuming there's a narrator, and that's why they chose not to have other voice actors for the characters.
But that would get tedious after a while, because I would guess having to read all that takes you back to
The
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
And Homestuck, right.
Yeah, I don't know. It would feel weird as a silent game. It doesn't look like it's set up to be a silent game. And it would be a nice broken sword callback for a narrator like that.
Yeah, you like the clown on the window
What is
seat?
that scary clown doll?
Scary Dolls is a Homestuck thing.
And what are the two images to the left of the computer? I can't tell what they are.
Metroid, Bubsy, Mother,
the
Day
90s
of Tentacle,
computer.
a sloth.
What are those?
That's somebody's arm.
Yeah.
Is
it's
there like a
person.
photorealistic person over there? Like
Yeah.
just a picture
Yeah.
of Andrew Hussey on her wall or
Just a
something?
person, yeah.
Elephant, panda, sloth. I wonder if they blue Lucis later.
There's Connect 4 here done
Connect
in
4.
different colors.
That's the,
There's a
Connect
unicorn.
4. Look at the colors of Connect 4. That's green and red, which is a major Homestuck thing.
Green and red circles.
Which links to Caliborn and Calliope, which really fits in with the pretty sneaky sis.
No, this is blue and white. What are you talking
That's-
about?
Blue and white?
Yeah, are we getting into the dress thing again?
Oh, God, no.
It's
no.
blue
the
and
chips
white.
of the Connect 4
It's
look,
blue and
they
white.
look red and green.
No, they don't. That's red and green.
All right.
that's blue and white.
Maybe.
Maybe.
but-
All right, let's go
Okay.
up on it. What color are those pictures?
All right. It looks a little blue
Sorry,
or white
I
up
brought-
close.
I brought it up to as high as it will go.
It looks like what's that painting in Ferris Bueller?
Yeah. Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na. Good times for a change. Yes. That's Smith's, thank you. That's what's playing. So what's with the unicorn over here? She's a little girl, she likes unicorns.
That's Classic Pony, as people have pointed out in the Reddit.
Classic pony, yes.
more 90s
Hussy
things
horses.
thrown in.
Hussies and horses.
Yeah,
We don't know.
Yep.
Although he's gotten over horses lately, so it's probably someone on the art team making fun of Hussy liking horses.
Hussy likes
So-
Transformers now for some reason.
Do you guys look
Okay.
at this 90s
I wonder if there's any
vibe,
callbacks to that.
and do you get like nostalgic for it? Like, I wish I'd been
little
born in the
bit,
early 90s.
I wasn't really born in the
Not
90s.
early
so-
90s. I was late 90s. I still got hit with the same stuff pretty hard.
Yeah, but you grew up on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Games came on
SNES
CDs.
is pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, could you actually like sit and get into SNES and want to play those
No,
games?
there's nothing for SNES.
No.
The time between NES and 64 was dark.
Why is he romanticizing it?
I don't know.
Because Toby on the music team really liked it too. Both Hussy and Toby really liked that time
Earthbound is
period.
really romanticized by
Like,
the Homestuck team. Everything is Earthbound.
Like, I get it, because the podcast that you're listening to, the other episodes that I do, are all about romanticizing prior things that
Yeah.
happened years ago. But there are certain things that I won't romanticize, and Super NES is one of them. It's
Yeah.
like, other than it was the first time there was a really fun Star Wars game. That's it. That's all I can think
One
of, because
thing-
because we got Battletoads for that game.
Mhm.
Everybody said Battletoads was it because they were ripping off Turtles, right? So Battletoad comes out, and if you've ever gone on YouTube, Battletoads is arguably one of the most difficult games ever created.
Stupid little rocket ship
Yeah,
going up and down.
there's no way any kid got to play that game and felt good about himself. So there's no romanticizing
To
it.
be honest, I prefer N64 so much
Yeah.
more.
The only thing I can think of is that this is in the first game of Hive Swap, you're only gonna be in Earth for half of one act. So I assume everything is really, really low rent, old computers, old SNES and stuff, so that Alternia will look even more futuristic.
Is it so that the characters can have cell phones and all the things that make solving crimes
Yeah.
and problems easy? Like,
Probably.
look at all the movies that if the two characters had cell phones, there'd be no movie.
And it's probably so that when Joey gets to Alternia, she'll be amazed by all the amazing stuff. Like, what is this Prongle thing? And then
Yeah.
we're like, that's Twitter.
Yeah, no, exactly.
If
It's
it was
make-
if it was the 2009 kids cast, they'd be like, oh look, trolls have Twitter too, pretty cool.
yeah, like it's making the mundane extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And remember that trolls were always more advanced than humans.
In some
movies
ways.
and cinema.
They invented movies hundreds of years before us, but television much more recently, or about the same.
Do you think has somebody already registered Prongle and tried to create their own site?
I don't
wonder.
know.
Wait, what if Gigapause.com switched its name
Switches
to
to
Prongle?
Prongle, that'd be really fitting.
That fits a lot better.
Gigapause.com was a social site for Homestuck during the Gigapause.
It got
so
really popular.
If they're working on a new host now because their site crashed. So if they move to Prongle.com, that'd be great. Or Prongle.horse if it's already taken. Prongle.horse would be nice.
I'm so Hussey has all those.
Tumblr.horse takes you to Patico.
Why?
Because
they
why
actually
not?
have that?
Yeah.
All right. And if you go back to the Review Fix article, they talk about how this is going to be hopefully one of many What Pumpkin Studios games.
Yeah, he said, Jess says this will be the first in a long series of games by us, but they only have 2 planned, so they do plan to stay together after Hive Swap, and maybe we'll get Problem Sleuth 2, the video game.
Yeah.
Bard Quest, the game.
Midnight Crew, the game.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
He invented the Midnight Crew characters as a side-scroller beat-em-up. That's why they all use only melee weapons, and why the Felt are all these generic goons with each with a different ability and different color to them.
Now, the Midnight Crew have a whole backstory we've never seen that involves them being in a casino and the Felt blowing it up for
Yeah.
events. And we never
Paradox
saw that.
Space is exploring
Yep.
a little bit halfway through.
The next Paradox Space big comic apparently is going to be the explanation of the Midnight Crew,
Yeah.
written by Hussey on the casino.
Mm-hmm.
I find it odd that of all the ideas that got rejected because the video game's going to explain it all, that was the one that made it.
That was the one that, because it was written by Hussey.
That was the one that
He
can
knows
make
what
it
he
to a
wants to
comic.
do with it.
But I feel like if anything, that's to be a level of the game. The Midnight Crew's Hotel.
Yeah, I would take that.
I mean, it more canon characters to show up, but I guess not.
No.
Now you plan on buying this game the moment it comes
Oh,
out,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Second
yes.
it's
The
out.
second it's out.
And then you're gonna not leave the house.
Until it's done.
How many
it's
times
gone.
are you gonna play it?
Until I get every option.
Wow.
Well, part 4 isn't probably going to be out till like later.
No, I'm just talking about
much
episode
later
1. How
this
many
year.
times are you gonna play episode 1?
Oh, I gotta play it over and over. You gotta memorize everything.
I imagine you two in your bedroom, like sitting across from each other. Where are you at? Where are you at?
Yeah,
Make-
exactly.
Are you gonna take the same path or different paths to see, and then look over each other's shoulder?
I don't know. We
I
don't
don't
know how
know.
to do it.
You've got to
And-
come up with a plan, man.
And then we got to get every Steam achievement. And we have to, I got to sell so many virtual hats because I have to buy 6 complete sets of trading cards for this game so I can unlock all the Homestuck avatars and backgrounds if it comes out on Steam.
I'm sure it will.
I'm hoping it comes out on Steam because if it does, then we get Steam unlockable emoticons, backgrounds, trading cards, achievements, the whole
Yeah.
bit.
I had read that Hive Swap had already been swallowed up by Skylanders.
Oh,
So we're
no.
gonna get all the
No.
little plastic characters.
Wait, oh,
Yeah, they're like $12.99 each.
Yeah, and they're not available anywhere.
you got to get them sipped from what pumpkin?
Who's the Luigi of Homestuck?
Who's the Luigi of
Tavros.
Homestuck?
There's just 1,000 Tavroses on the shelf, and that's it.
Call
Right.
Cat's going for like $100 online.
Not to digress, but those what are they called? Amoebas?
Yeah.
Amiibos.
Amiibos. You look at them and you go, wait a minute, Nintendo. You've had the ability to put out high-quality plastic sculptures of all of your signature characters, and you finally put them out, and they're amazing for anybody who wants to just collect the little statues,
I would love to.
and they're not available
They're not
anywhere.
available.
No.
And some of them are worth $10,000.
Yeah, I have wanted that. I have wanted an action figure, a real tangible figure, not a tiny PVC, a real figure of the Animal Crossing villager for so long now. And when they finally announced this line, it was my dream because I had a lot of nostalgia with the GameCube. If I had to pick a
You're
console,
romanticizing the GameCube
I'm going to
now.
romanticize the GameCube, and I'm going to romanticize Super Smash Bros. Melee. because the whole game was based around getting coins to put into a virtual gumball machine to get tiny Nintendo figures, and you collected a virtual collection of them. I always dreamed that these figures existed somewhere, and these had to exist. They're way too cool. Nintendo, you have to make these, and they never did. And they finally released them because they're in the poses of the game, and they come on the bases and they're exact replicas of the figures you collect in Smash Brothers. And you can't get them.
You can't get them.
You can't get them anywhere.
You get some Luigis and some Peaches.
And that's it.
It's a stunning lack of quality control. Getting those figures to market. The fact that Toys R Us doesn't have 2 aisles of Nintendo figures, but they've got 2 solid sides of Skylanders. Well, how come those Skylanders guys can get their crap together, but Nintendo cannot? That's ridiculous. How much is the Wii Fit Girl?
Oh my goodness, he's one of the worst ones.
Like, that's
Her and Villager is really rare.
That's insane. Those things were at market at one time. And I'm sure that they never made it to the shelf. I'm sure every Toys R Us stock person, bought them and took them out the back door to the local collectible store. That's just not fair to the fans, especially because Nintendo's products have been spotty. I mean, over the years, there have been some really bad Nintendo
Just
stuff.
look at the new DS. It doesn't come with a charger.
Well, that's just them screwing the fans over. That's ridiculous. Wait a minute. You're going to sell me a system that doesn't have a power source?
No. They expect you to have already owned a DS and are upgrading. And you just use the same charger.
That's ridiculous. That makes all those chargers good as gold at GameStop, and you take it into sell, and we'll give you, 85 cents, and then they put it in the case, and it's 40.
The 2 ways to get chargers are to buy the knockoff one at GameStop that hardly works, or to import it from Nintendo with heavy import fees.
Jeez, that's just not treating your fans right.
Or
That
just
is
to buy
not-
another $200 DS.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's hope that the Hive Swap game is fair to everybody, is fun, logical.
The physical version is coming out.
If you did not donate to the Kickstarter, how are you going to get your hands on one of those? Because I know
He
you
hasn't
guys
said.
both want it.
In the January update, Hussey said, for those asking about the physical copy, don't worry, just leave it to us for now, when the time comes. Meaning he's not going to worry about it till all 4 parts of the game are out, because that's when he needs to release it. It's supposed to be a physical disc with Hive Swap on it. I think it's supposed to be autographed by him, and it's supposed to also include all of Homestuck on the disc in a visual comic form.
Right, that's for the Kickstarter people.
For the Kickstarter people.
What if you're not a Kickstarter
They, 2
pledger?
years ago, paid $50 to get one of those discs, or $15 for the cheapie version.
15, just
So
get it.
15 was digital, 25 was physical,
50 was
for
signed.
signed in a special case and everything.
So how do you get one?
He hasn't said, or if it will be released at all. But then again, every single other Kickstarter exclusive is now available. So if they can make money off it, they'll release it normally.
I mean, the Midnight Crew,
I'm
playing
sure it'll be a
cards, the
little more
tote bag,
expensive.
the Game Boy T-shirts,
What they
the
might
Game
do
Boy
is wait till
T-shirts.
both games are done and do a $30 to $40 double pack for non-Kickstarter people.
I mean, just look at the exclusives they had. It was really obscure niche stuff, like the Game Boy and Game Girl T-shirt. Stuff that when you looked at it went, oh my goodness, they're never going to release
They're never
this.
going to release this again. If you had one of the Midnight Crew T-shirts or tote bags or, God forbid, the Scalemate, you had like hundreds of dollars worth of super rare merch, and now it's all on the website for a few bucks. The only thing exclusive is a few sticker sheets.
I remember I went to San Diego Comic-Con to What Pumpkin. I was so excited, like, What Pumpkin's finally here. And I was going, oh my goodness, they're going to have all the cool stuff I see online. And they instead brought leftover Kickstarter stuff for, I'm not going to lie, $1.
Yeah.
They had the pins
There were the
for $1.
scrub pins were $1, and those were some high Kickstarter rewards.
These were the same pins.
$1.
Yeah.
These were the same pins that online were being praised and
People
were
who
worth.
missed the Kickstarter were paying $20 to $30 a little pin, and they were $1 bowl at the con.
And I'm just like, wait, something's off here. And they also had the tarot cards, which were $60, I want to say, for the Kickstarter.
Those were $60 to $100.
They were $250 to $300 on eBay at the time
They
being.
were signed, then it was like through the roof, and they were just sitting on the table, $15, just dead.
$15 signed. Hussey was working the booth.
Yeah.
And I was just shocked. Like, how does this stuff have this
They don't
value?
care about retaining value. They just want to make another quick buck.
Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to go, look, we've promised these to the Kickstarter people. We've sent out the Kickstarter rewards. We've got 2 cases left. We put them in the closet, or do we take them to the con and make a buck? They took them to the con and made a buck, man. That's what they do.
Luckily, they haven't started selling the Kickstarter posters. There were posters with all the characters that said Homestuck Kickstarter Adventure Game.
Listen, there was a grocery outlet over by where I work. And one time I went in there, and they had San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Mattel unmasked Batman figures for $4.99. These are the figures people were fighting over at San Diego. Awful, ugly, stupid figure. But you never know where this stuff's going to end up, man.
Toys R Us has a few lenticular Raidens from 2010
11
Combat.
And
Right.
local Target finally got a Funko aisle of all their pop vinyls, and a lot of them say, this is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, right on them.
And there's nothing different from the one without the sticker. They're the same toy.
No, it's Malibu Stacy with a new hat, man.
Yeah.
Let's not oversell it. Let's not oversell it.
Remember, this is, I don't think anyone...
Go ahead.
In 2008, they did that big Star Wars Toys R Us release. People got so hyped because there was nothing special.
Yeah, but with cardboard dais.
Well, no. This is 2008. The whole gimmick was that they said Force Day release stickers on them.
Those were on the shelf like till last year.
I still see them. And then the whole gimmick was that if you bought your figures fast enough and you spent over $100, you had the chance to spend another $25 to get an all-clear General Grievous figure. Do you remember this?
Yeah, that was great. General Grievous, clear.
So fans just rushed in and loaded as much Clone Wars garbage into their carts as possible with the Force Day stickers so they could have the ability to spend money on an overpriced clear figure.
The only thing I would say that redeems your story about the Homestuck Kickstarter merchandise is that it's not like it was shipped off to Hot Topic. You know, it was available at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
You had to have a badge to get up there. They checked you on the way in. So it wasn't like there was just like housefrows who wandered in buying, oh, this is a nice pin for $1. It was still like you guys had to be uber fans to get that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that didn't prevent us from buying stacks of it.
Hussey's just sitting behind the counter selling T-shirts. It's a pretty closed thing.
Yeah. No, that's to people who've never been to Comic-Con, that sounds insane. That the creator is sitting behind the booth munching on corn chips. But we've been to enough cons to know that, yeah, that's what happens,
Yeah.
you know. Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, is just walking around with like a Slurpee.
Yeah.
You know, or Pendleton Ward, he's taking his mom over to where the bathroom is. Comic-Con takes the bizarro celebrity thing and really makes it normal.
Remember when Kevin Smith came out and got in a golf cart and drove off?
He just got in a golf cart with his wife and drove off. And what did I yell? Fly, fat ass, fly! And I don't think he appreciated it.
He hears that every time he leaves a building.
Well,
ever.
you know, he wrote the dialogue, not me. You know,
We had people wait like 2 hours to meet Hussey, and then later that night he was just sitting there signing posters.
that's Comic-Con, man. You know, Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, his line is 3 to 4 hours if you can get in it. And your mom and I met him on the escalator, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll sign your Daryl vest." And you know, that's the magic of Comic-Con. It's the magic of Comic-Con, and it's also being what we are, uber nerds, and
knowing them on site.
in an instant, because you've only got 3 seconds or less to recognize it and go, that's the guy, you know.
Saw Chuck coming out of the elevator once.
Right,
The
right.
cast of V was eating dinner next to us.
I remember I was just calmly at the Nordis. What did they do at the stadium last Comic-Con? What was that called?
Nerdist HQ.
Nordis HQ. We were just sitting there. This was a long day after the con, man. We were just sitting there dying, and a huge guy a huge crowd actually. It was a big crowd of people with a guy in the center. We didn't know who it was. Just swam by in like a second. Brother just said, that's JonTron, and ran towards him. And I'm like,
No, JonTron, you're thinking of Tobuscus. JonTron was alone. He was just running.
that's why it was Tobuscus. Tobuscus was the big crowd.
Who was the guy with the sign who got kicked out?
That was
Tobuscus.
Tobuscus. We were just
Okay.
walking through the con, and all of a sudden we hear, Tobuscus! And we're like, oh no. And Tobuscus runs by with a big sign that has an arrow that says Tobuscus is pointing right at him, and behind him is like a crowd of 100 people
It
chasing
was a
after
big
him.
crowd of people.
And you just see security waving their fists in the air
they
at
don't.
him.
They don't dig that at Comic-Con. They threw him right out.
Some
did.
celebrities wear masks to hide their appearances. He had a 5-foot arrow big pointing at him.
He screamed,
And
yeah.
that's Comic-Con, folks.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, JonTron was afterwards just calmly just walking around,
we don't get it
right?
over here, but a lot of middle of the country smaller cons, it's relatively cheap to get a panel of your own. So Homestucks get together and do a little Homestuck fan panel. Almost everyone, if you look in the back of the room, Dante Basco will be sitting there. He sits in on them all the time.
Yeah, I submitted a proposal to WonderCon for a Homestuck panel. I've yet to hear back.
Yeah.
They don't know what that is.
Our cons on the West Coast are too big. You gotta go to Texas. I think Texas has a lot of
Right,
them.
yeah, but if I was like, look, I'm a big Supernatural fan, I'd like to do a Supernatural panel, they'd be like, oh, sure, let us hook you up with the stars of the show. Homestuck, they're like, delete.
Yeah. This year, WonderCon, they're closed. They're all in the hotel. They threw them all out.
Yeah, there's no fan panels in the actual con.
Anime Expo is the one weird one here that has a lot of really weird. One person decided, I'm gonna do a panel, and they just who knows what's going on there.
Portland was the one that had a big Homestuck gathering with
Yeah.
Dante Basco. He said the con itself was really small, but there was a lot of Homestucks in a big panel.
Mm-hmm. He just walks around, goes to meetups, sits on the panels. He's pretty cool with that.
Well, speaking of conventions, we'll wrap up on this. WonderCon is coming Easter weekend at the Anaheim Convention Center. I have been trying to get a table for the last week and a half. They are sold out of tables. They sold out very early, the guy said. We're on the waiting list. That being said, we don't need a table to go and have a good time. We will be there. 91 Reasons will be heavily represented. Both the Homestuck experts will be there in full cosplay regalia. Am I right?
Yes.
And we'll have business cards, and we're going to hang out, and we're going to try to record some things on the laptop so that we can play on the show. So keep an eye out for us. You know what our logo is. It's the Back to the Future logo that says 91 Reasons. We will be out and about all 3 days of WonderCon. If, as we get closer to the show, if we do get a table, I will let you know exactly the space number and where that is. We've got our fingers and our horns crossed for that table.
2 more episodes before then, right?
Yeah. So we're just giving an update. So yeah, there's still plenty of time, and anything could happen.
I'm trying to plan all my cosplays.
And we've, you know what, we've kind
All
of,
you talk about.
not to stereotype, because this show's about accepting of all fandoms and such, but we have kind of noticed that the Homestucks don't always have passes to get in.
Yeah.
So getting the table,
Meetups are always outside.
right, getting a table would mean nothing to them.
Yeah.
So we will be outside the con quite a bit with all the cosplayers and hanging out. So don't be shy. If you know me from my big mouth, if you know Austin or Luna from their costumes, and prior to the WonderCon convention, we will take pictures of them in their costumes and put them up on the Facebook page so that you can actually see what they look like, and we'll link to the Reddit for that. So thanks to everybody on Reddit who is responding and talking about the show. We love hearing your comments. We're just 3 dorks doing a show. We do it without notes. We do it on one microphone because we're cheap. Later this summer, we will be upgrading our full setup to a much more comfortable and accessible way of recording. But you know what? Like I've always said in the other shows, and I don't know if you've listened to them or not, you don't need anybody's permission to do what you think is your art. There's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. There's only your way to do it. We do this on one microphone because that's what we want to do, and that's the passion that we have. And if we were people, and I'm not casting aspersions to anybody, I'm just simply saying that you, the guy sitting in your house, the girl in your house, or whoever you are, you don't need permission to make your own art. When I wrote my books, I didn't need anybody's permission, even though everybody told me I needed to do this, and this to write a book. And guess what I did? I wrote a book, And I wrote it exactly the way I wanted to write it. This podcast is done the way we know how to do it.
We just sort of do it. We start recording and we do it.
Right,
That's
and-
where I tend to stutter and mess up a lot, because like it's purely there's no script.
Yeah,
here.
we're human. And I'm not, again, that's not casting aspersions on anybody, because I listen to enough podcasts to know that the ones that are really polished, I really appreciate that. Like the work and the time that goes into editing those shows, I get, because it's really complicated, and God bless you. The thing with our Homestuck episodes is I don't have time for that. So I will we will finish recording this. I will slap some music on it and the bumpers, and I will get it up. The goal is to get it up midnight tonight, so that all of the counts and the numbers are for tomorrow, Wednesday, the 18th of March. Any last words on this episode?
I think we're good.
Let's hope the best for Hive Swap. Let's hope we get more news.
Hope the best for Hive Swap. Let's see if tradition holds. As soon as we finish recording, some big news will show up on the
Yeah. When do you think we'll get a trailer?
4/13. It looks like they're aiming at a May release date, so I'm guessing 4/13 will be a trailer.
Dun, 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 dun. From the creator of Homestuck comes Hive Swap
Unless-
in a world.
We can always hope they get it done early, and 4/13's a great day to release it.
You never know. We will keep you posted.
When is Rapture Day coming? It's been like 8 months. Still no Rapture Day.
Someday. It's coming.
Stay tuned, dear Homestucks, for all the latest information on Hive Swap, Homestuck, Gigapause, Duddles, Dave Strider, John Egbert.
The big Duddle payoff's coming up.
Oh, the big Duddle payoff. The whole finale of the game is Duddles.
Yes.
Duddle Wars, Raising Duddles, Duddle Tamagotchis, Duddles. And you laugh but if that 90th aesthetic holds true, Duddles Tamagotchis, yes.
Yeah.
All right, I am Jeff Tucker. I am the voice of 91 Reasons.
I'm Austin.
I'm Luna.
And together, when we get together every Tuesday or Wednesday night, a magical thing happens. We transform like Voltron. We combine ourselves into one being, and that being is called 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?